What's up, y'all? Hope everybody out there is having an awesome day. As you can tell, I am not in studio. Crystal wanted to get away on a little mini vacation, so we did. I'm actually in North Carolina right now. Let me tell you, bro, it was 71 degrees 2 days ago while it was snowing up in New York, so holy shit, did it feel amazing. In fact, even though it looks gross out here today, it's still 65 degrees, so I'm chilling. I know a lot of y'all are buried underneath snow, but I hope you guys are having a great one out there anyway. And I still got a whole bunch of breaking news for you, regardless of the fact that we're not in studio, so hope you guys are ready. Buckle up, because it's gonna be an important one. So here we go. Let's start with this. Trump the other day came out and said, posting about Epstein, which, by the way, I don't know why he keeps doing this. You're not helping. You're not making yourself look more innocent. Like, how do you not know that? Okay, he says, now 1 million more pages on Epstein are found. The DOJ is being forced to spend all of its time on this Democrat-inspired hoax. When do they say no more and work on election fraud, etc.? The Democrats are the ones who worked with Epstein, not the Republicans. Release all of their names, embarrass them, and get back to helping our country. The radical left doesn't want people talking about Trump and Republican success. Only a long ago dead Jeffrey Epstein. Just another witch hunt. So yet again, here we go. In the same post, he goes from it's all a hoax to it's real, but the Democrats are guilty, and back to it's a hoax. How do you not realize that that is a contradiction? It can't be all fake and a hoax, but also real and the Democrats did it. That makes no sense. He never, like, every time he opens his mouth, he wages a war on logic. Like, how do you not see that? Trump supporters, how are you not embarrassed? How do you not see that? It makes no sense. It's a total contradiction. But he can't help himself. But anyway, I do have more on the Epstein front. So I don't know if you guys saw this, but there was a New York Times piece. Don's best friend, how Epstein and Trump bonded over the pursuit of women. Okay? In this piece, I'm going to read a passage for you. And this makes my skin crawl. Quote, at Mar-a-Lago, each woman was given a red and white striped wristband advertising them. Miss Brock, one of the moms, that's Miss Brock is one of the young girls who was there, felt like she was, quote, meat. None of the other guests, chiefly men in tuxedos, wore the wristbands. The women were made to line up and meet Mr. Trump. So again, instead of like going shopping for a car or something like that, they're shopping for young women. That's what this is. That teenage modeling was all a front for human trafficking. This goes hand in hand with that other New York Times story where we learned about a mother being pulled aside. She had her 14-year-old daughter with her at Mar-a-Lago, which, by the way, not great parenting in the first place. But she's there to nominally to protect her 14-year-old daughter. Marla Maples, Trump's ex-wife, pulls her aside and says, keep your 14-year-old away from my husband, no matter what you do. Keep them away from all of these men. All of them. Holy shit. So now they got wristbands basically saying like, hey, this one's for sale. That's what this is. Oh my God. All right, let me give you some more. So I don't know if you guys saw this, but Julie K. Brown is a legendary reporter for the Miami Herald, and she's the one who broke the sweetheart Epstein deal story in 2008. Really blew the lid off this whole Epstein case, okay? She came out and said the following. Does somebody at the DOJ want to tell me why my American Airlines booking information and flights in July 2019 are part of the Epstein files attached to a grand jury subpoena? As the flight itinerary includes my maiden name, and I did book this flight, why was the DOJ monitoring me? So Trump's DOJ in 2019 was spying on a legendary reporter who basically blew the lid off the Epstein files. And of course, the concern is, wait a second, is Trump spying on this woman to make sure she doesn't have new, super important breaking information and dirt on him? Dirt on his fredophile billionaire cabal? Because that's certainly Occam's razor, isn't it? That he's afraid, oh my God, they're going to get stuff on me. Quick, spy on the woman who was the hero who exposed the Epstein story to begin with. Oh my God, bro, it just keeps getting worse. All this stuff keeps getting worse. We also have this. You want to take a shower after you hear this. But in the Epstein files, as reported by TrumpFile.org, there's an article talking about how you had this girl who was raped by Jeffrey Epstein. She says, I'm going to call the cops on you. And Ghislaine Maxwell plays the role of like, you know, this person's friend, right? And so Ghislaine Maxwell says, oh yeah, no, I got it. I'm outraged by what Jeffrey did. I'm going to call the cops, right? And so the cops are called. People show up in police uniforms. Come to find out, those police uniforms were Jeffrey Epstein's. In fact, he has them in his closet. There's a picture of him with police uniforms in his closet. So they had this thing down to a science. They had it down to a T. If they were accused by one of the girls of rape and they wanted to call the cops, Ghislaine would call the cops, and it'd be Jeffrey Epstein's friends, other parts of the pedophile billionaire cabal. They would show up, pretend to be the cops, and they arrested Jane Doe. They arrested the girl in this case. And then they threatened to ruin her family, like all these things. And basically, I think they pulled up to this, they got in the car and they pulled up to this body of water that had a lot of alligators, and Jeffrey Epstein pointed at it and said, if you ever say what I did to you, you'll end up in there with the alligators like all the women before you. Like, what is there to even say about this, bro? This is demonic. This is demonic. And the extent to which they're planning and organizing is just mind-boggling. Like, how did you had fake cop uniforms for if one of the girls wanted to hold you accountable, and Ghislaine would call the cop? Like, what the fuck? This is insane. This is insane. All right. So now let's talk a little bit about what's going on in Fuentes world, in Groyper land. So Will Somer posted the following. Drama in Nick Fuentes world tonight after prominent Groyper named Virillium was exposed for wearing women's clothes and describes himself as gay. Huge blow to the Groyper community. Virillium blames J.D. Vance supporters for digging up the dirt on his gay past. Quote, it was some gay shit. So, I don't doubt that this guy is right, that the J.D. Vance supporters pulled up the stuff, because the J.D. Vance people know that the Groypers hate J.D. Vance, and so to them it's like political warfare, because you guys declared war on J.D. Vance and them, and so they pulled it up. But that's not, like, okay, bro, you're still exposed. And he responded, I watched the video, he was talking about, like, oh, I used to be a degenerate leftist, and I was into all that stuff before I was saved by Jesus in, like, 2023 or whatever. And at no point does he actually mention the gay stuff in particular. At no point does he mention the gay stuff in particular, because guess what? There is no such thing as ex-gay. You know that. I know that. Everybody knows that. It's the fakest thing in the world. Like, people who pretend to be ex-gay are just fucking pent up to the gills and probably jacking off to dicks all over the place. I mean, what a sick joke. You can't change your sexual orientation. If there's anything that's set in stone in this world, it's that, right? And so, doesn't really address that. So, the reason why this story is interesting is for the very simple reason that, look, I think the Groyper community is just packed full of closet cases. I really do. By the way, we looked at there was polling numbers on Fuentes, and first of all, he has a 6% approval rating. 61% of the country has no idea who the fuck he is. It's actually probably more than that in total. And the demographic community that liked him the most was actually black people, which is so ironic. He's rallying against minorities 24/7. And it happens to be like, they're like, a lot of the Groypers are like people of color. They're like Hispanic or they're black. And it's this weird thing where like, they're not viewed as part of whiteness. So it's almost like, I don't know, they sort of look up to it. It's very bizarre. It's very strange. But now you know, I mean, one of the leading people in the community is a closet case. Just like there's allegations against Fuentes himself with all the Catboy stuff, for example. You know, they say gay, closeted Mexican twink. Like that's, we've all heard that about Fuentes. And so, I mean, this guy's coping and seething now because he got outed. But look, I mean, I'd be shocked if this wasn't like a bulk or the majority of the people in Groyper world. Like, you know, you don't get into that stuff unless there's some real deep-seated weirdness going on in you where you're uncomfortable in your own skin. So anyway, I mean, they're blaming the J.D. Vance people, but dog, it's you. Like, you were gay, you are gay, and the other stuff about being a degenerate leftist. I also love like the way they talk about being on the left as if it's some sort of illness or sickness. It's like, I got bad news for you. If there's any political ideology that's closer to an illness, it's going to be fucking Nazism, which is like the most depraved shit imaginable. And they talk about being a leftist and like believing in freedom and believing people that have the right to express their gender identity, that's a good thing. They act like that's the bad thing. But anyway, I digress. Kind of hilarious. I wonder how Nick is going to handle this, given that this guy's one of his like top soldiers. I guess we'll find out. All right, we also have, I don't know if you guys have seen this. Now, I just learned about this guy like a week or two ago. I must admit. There's this guy, Clavicular. I learned about him like a week or two ago. The other day I saw, what, did he hit somebody with his car? He's like a young influencer or whatever. I hate that word influencer, but that's what he is, right? And he's a looks maxer is what they call it. So what he does is, these are the people who you read about them like, oh, I smashed my face with a hammer so it would, it would heal in a more masculine shape. Like this is the shit that these people talk about. They're big on mogging other people, like being the best looking person in a picture by far compared to the other one. Well, anyway, this guy Clavicular, I don't know how or why, but he's now, shouldn't he be arrested, by the way? He allegedly ran over somebody with his car. Shouldn't he be in prison right now? I'm just saying, like I saw that last week or something like that. Well, he went on Michael Knowles' show. Michael Knowles, of course, Daily Wire cuck. And he did an interview with this Clavicular guy. And man, this guy, I'm sure he pissed off the Ben Shapiro types, the traditional right-wing types, because he tells Michael Knowles that he would vote for Gavin Newsom 100 times over J.D. Vance, and he predicts a Newsom win, and he says, quote, Newsom mogs. Vance is obese. Very recessed side profile, whereas Newsom is a 6'3" Chad. How are you fat and expect to lead a country? I'm voting Gavin. So, and this guy, by the way, nominally, these people are supposed to be right-wing. These looks maxer people are supposed to be right-wing. It's like Red Pill adjacent and Groyper adjacent type stuff. Here's my thing. I kind of think this is a troll. I kind of think they're like fucking with right-wingers and like they actually lean left, and they're almost doing the reverse Jimmy Dore, right? They're doing the like, oh God, I'm so far right and I'm such a pure right-winger that it actually horseshoes back to, I would support Gavin Newsom over J.D. Vance, even though Gavin Newsom is objectively further to the left than J.D. Vance. It's like this weird horseshoe thing where now the Michael Knowles types and the Ben Shapiro types, they come across as the hall monitors and the professors and the losers and the dorks and the geeks. But what about the midterms? But you need to support the Republican. Be a good boy and support the Republican. And then you got these people who are nominally further right-wing, and they're out there going, fuck J.D. Vance. He's obese. He's got a feminine bone structure. Like, we want Gavin Newsom. We support Gavin Newsom instead. So that's just one example of the shit he said. He also said, he told Michael Knowles that he doesn't care about transgenders because it's, quote, another person to mog. So Michael Knowles was trying to get him to shit on trans people, like is, common in right-wing circles where that's all they do all day. They sit around, jack each other off, and talk about how horrible trans people are as they suck off billionaires and fascists and war criminals. But this guy says, like, oh, I don't care. Trans people can do whatever they want because it's just another person to mog. If they want to take themselves out of the competition, then go ahead, take yourself out of the competition. I'm just going to mog everybody if you're trans. It makes me look even better in comparison. This is basically what he's saying. But it's like a roundabout right-wingy way of saying, yeah, trans people are fine. What? I'm telling you, this is a bit. He's trolling. They're trolling. He rates Sydney Sweeney. He said the following, quote, I would say that she's pretty malformed. Her upper maxilla, never even heard of that, is extremely recessed. Got the eyes of doom, with no infraorbital support. Not much of a looker in her face. So now, from a right-wing perspective, shitting on Sydney Sweeney. Look, all I'll say is to all the looks-maxing people, all the people that are so far right that they loop back around to be slightly more on the left, by all means, y'all, proceed. Because you are tearing apart the right-wing community, and they literally don't know what to do with you. Michael Knowles did not know what to do with somebody who said, fuck J.D. Vance because he's obese. And I like Gavin Newsom because he's a 6'3" Chad. He literally didn't know how to handle that. He tried to be like, but what about the policies? Think of the policies. These people don't give a fuck about policy. Or maybe they do, but again, they're trolling you. They're actually left-wing, but they're pretending to be right-wing. So just amazing stuff, man. Just amazing stuff. All right. Sorry about that. Needed to spit out my little cinnamon pouch. All right. So we also have big news on the Ro Khanna front. Now, by the way, everybody check out the interview I did with Ro Khanna on Crystal Kyle and Friends. That was the last episode we did. Definitely check it out. Like I said, it was a little Christmas present to everybody. It's free for everybody this week, but go sign up on Crystal Kyle and Friends anyway to get every full interview, the video form of it. You don't want to miss that stuff. But it was a great interview. He absolutely freaked it. He is the reason the Epstein files were released. It was him and Thomas Massie. They made it the big issue that it is, and they basically did the bidding of the American people and fought for it. So a lot of people in my audience are saying, hey, we want him to run in 2028. We would support him in 2028. I mean, I think he's now in a really good position to do exactly that. He's being bold. He's not being cautious. He's saying all the right things and doing all the right things. And now, y'all, the billionaires are coming after him. The tech billionaire assholes are openly talking about primarying him, about kicking him out of office. You have Bill Balsackman says, Ro Khanna has lost his way. I used to support him. The other day, Crystal was scrolling through her Twitter, and one tweet after the next was some billionaire asshole or tech AI asshole going, how dare this guy, how dare he say we need a wealth tax? So one person here says, some tech leaders / donors now talking about primarying Ro Khanna, who has long had support from those tech leaders and donors. So one person said, Ro has done a speed run alienating every moderate I know who has supported him, including myself. Beyond being totally out of touch with the faction of his base, he's devolved into an obnoxious jerk. At least that makes voting him the fuck out all the more gratifying. By the way, why is that person pissed off? Because Ro Khanna said, Peter Thiel is leaving California if we pass a 1% tax on billionaires for 5 years to pay for healthcare for the working class facing steep Medicaid cuts. I echo what FDR said with sarcasm of economic royalists. I welcome their hatred. So here's Ro Khanna saying, I welcome the hatred of these multi-billionaires who are hoarding all the money while regular people can't afford healthcare and food. And they go, how dare you? I don't like you anymore. Good. I hope you don't like him. And I hope you know we're going to tax the fucking shit out of you. I hope you know that. All right, somebody else says, time to primary him. Count me in. Happy to be involved at any level. I swear to God, man, it was all over Twitter. You had billionaires and tech assholes saying, we're coming for Ro Khanna. We're going to destroy him. First of all, guys, do you not understand that nobody likes you? Do you not get that? That the American people despise you? Fucking wealthy assholes who are entitled, pampered little pricks who cry about a fucking 1% wealth tax whilst people can't afford their electricity bill. Okay? The fact that you hate him means we like him more. We like him more. We're going to support him more. We're going to donate to him more. We're going to keep prodding him to go in the right direction as he is. Okay? That's what that means. So you want to go ahead and get your little backroom, smoke-filled billionaire cabal together? The fucking Epstein buddies, you want to get all you guys together and pool a bunch of money to try to take down Ro Khanna? Well, guess what, son? Money isn't everything. You need votes at the end of the day in order to win. And the more you go after him, the more we like him, okay? I know you guys are busy destroying the earth, and you don't like that anybody's trying to check your ass, your unlimited wealth and power, but we're going to do exactly that. I know you're busy raising electricity prices. I know you're busy poisoning Memphis with your fucking shitty data centers. I know you're busy fucking doing tax avoidance by shoving all your money in the Cayman Islands. I know you're busy whining and complaining. I know you're busy using Doge to cut pediatric cancer research. But your time is up. Your time is up. And now we're going to get a president in Ro Khanna. God, I hope he runs. But we're going to get a president who's going to hold your asses accountable. And by the way, this is why Gavin Newsom is cooked too. Let me just point out. Because he said he doesn't want to raise taxes on billionaires. Well, that's a non-starter, son. That's a non-starter. Then we're not interested in what you're selling. Stop with your bullshit of we need Manchin to Mamdani. We need a big tent from Manchin to Mamdani. The fuck we do. The Democratic Party is only as good as its most conservative member. That's Joe Manchin. He blocked virtually all of Build Back Better. Okay? He's the reason we didn't have a transformation of the U.S. economy to improve the system for working people. He's the reason. We're not doing that again. We're getting real change. We're going to go after MAGA. We're going to hold MAGA accountable. We're going to go after the billionaires and the war criminals and the fascists. That's what we're going to do. So anyway, go ahead. Keep coming at Ro Khanna. You're only going to make us like him more. All right, now let's talk about this. I know you guys have probably seen this. This has also been all over social media. but there's this right-wing fake journalist by the name of Nick Shirley, and he did this big expose where he goes around Minnesota and he pretends, like, look at all this Somalian fraud happening, look at this business and that business, it's not a real business, and they're shaking down taxpayers, and they're lying, and they're cheating, and it's fraud, and Tim Walz is in on it, and he goes through this whole thing. Okay, so blows up in right-wing circles, because they're a bunch of idiots who just want to be fed the narrative that they already agree with about how black people are bad, right? Well, the second you had any straight reporters and liberals and leftists dig into what this guy was saying, immediately, virtually all of his claims just fell apart. They just fell apart. So, one of the things he says is this quality learning center, like, oh, they're committing fraud and they're shaking down the taxpayers, and this is part of his little video that he releases. And come to find out, he just lied. He literally blurred out the information that was posted on the door because he knew that would fuck up his narrative. He blurred it out. So he was like overtly lying to the point where he knew if somebody paused the video and zoomed in, they could read the stuff that it said on the sheet of paper. So he blurred it out. Okay. Quality Learning Center was already permanently closed. And it wasn't closed because of fraud. There were child safety issues. All he had to do was look that up and he would have seen it, but he didn't look it up. So this is what they do. This is what they do. They are narrative humpers. They are liars. And the thing that fucking pisses me off to no end is it's not like there's a shortage of actual fraud to get mad at. Now, by the way, you also have these right-wingers posting these fake pictures that say Somali child care centers were discovered to have donated to local Somali politicians in Minneapolis, Minnesota, after revelations that the government-funded businesses were conducting massive fraud. Well, guess what? Turnbull on Twitter, he did a check of the FEC, Minnesota Campaign Finance, and Public Disclosure Board for donations from Lucky Child Care LLC and Sunshine Child Care Inc. There were no records showing that's true. These people are lying. They are making up fake shit and posting it on social media, pretending it's real to whip people up into a manic frenzy to target Somalis. That's what they're doing. And it is total fucking horseshit. Now, mind you, the people who are whining and bitching and moaning and lying about this, they are not talking about the massive criminal fraudster who was just pardoned by Trump. There's this guy, Philip Esformez. He's a Minnesota daycare fraudster. He was operating a nursing home scheme to defraud Medicare to the tune of $1.2 billion. He got doctors to bill for unnecessary services. Okay? Trump pardoned that guy, $1.2 billion in Medicare fraud. Trump pardoned that guy. Not only did he pardon him, as soon as that guy got out, what did he do? He started doing some domestic abuse. He did domestic violence, and he was rearrested. So I don't want to hear your bullshit about the stuff you made up about Somalians, okay? I don't want to hear that. I want you to get fucking mad at your president, who you guys suck off, who just pardoned a $1.2 billion fraudster. He just pardoned them, and you said nothing about it. Nothing. Not even a peep. So I don't want to hear it. I simply don't want to hear it. These people are liars and scumbags and charlatans. And the other fact is, the Pentagon just failed its 8th audit in a row. 8th audit in a row. What is Trump doing, their president? He's saying, I want $1 trillion Pentagon budget. Guys, I'm not kidding when I say they can't account for 63% of their money. Even if I grant you everything you say about the Somali community in Minnesota, that is a pittance compared to the trillions of dollars that the Pentagon is stealing. Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, Boeing, Honeywell, all of these fucking companies, they are robbing us blind to the tune of trillions of dollars. Not a billion, trillions of dollars. And you got nothing to say about that. In fact, all of you idiots want to give even more money to the Pentagon. So I don't want to hear it. This is what we call fake outrage. They are doing fake outrage. And the whole point is to hyper-target black people in Minnesota to try to deport all of them. That's the idea. Meanwhile, they say nothing about the white guy who did $1.2 billion in Medicare fraud in Minnesota, mind you, who was pardoned by Donald Trump. Just like so many con men were pardoned by Trump because he's literally doing pay-to-play for pardons. You pay $1 million, you get off. So we also have, by the way, Elon Musk, his dipshit ass chimed in on this. And he said, we found hundreds of fraud schemes. This is one of many. There was massive fraud in every government program, especially federal funds sent as block grants to the states. So this is him. He thinks he's getting in on the fun, dumping on Somalis in Minnesota. That's what he thinks he's doing. What he's really doing is showing how big a piece of shit he is. Because if there actually was a ridiculous amount of fraud that you discovered with Doge, why didn't you report any fraud to the DOJ or the FBI? Why were there 0 investigations, 0 criminal charges, 0 convictions? You got literally nothing. You got nobody on fraud. So if what you're saying is true, you're the most incompetent motherfucker that's ever lived because you have nothing to show for it. But guess what? It's actually not true. He's a total fucking liar. He's the one that's doing the fraud. Remember that story? They backdated some subsidy that was given to one of Elon Musk's companies and went from like 400,000 and they tried to up it to like 400 million. Then they got caught and they had to drop it. He's the fucking fraudster. This son of a bitch took $38 billion in US tax money to do like a dozen rockets that blew up. Okay? I don't want to hear from you. You want to talk about fraud? Your dumbass said, what was it, 14 years ago? He said, I'll get us on Mars in 10 years. Bitch, we are way over the limit. We should have been there 4 years ago. What happened? You're a lying charlatan. That's what happened. That's what happened. Now, while we're on the topic of lying charlatans, this guy, listen to this. So Vivek Ramaswamy, as you all know, he's running for governor of Ohio. And when you look at his backstory, man, it is not good. So he created this thing, Axivant, which was supposed to be this Alzheimer's drug. And I think they faked results about, oh, it's working. Look, it got through phase 1. It's working. It's working. And then, of course, what ended up happening is it was a failed drug. It didn't work. So the insiders raised all the money, cashed out. The investors got wiped out. Okay. So him and his family made a killing off this where other people lost everything. Well, 2 years later, there's a new biotech company that emerges in the same family orbit. They raised over $1 billion. And no drugs have gone to the market. None. 0. So, in other words, it looks like Vivek Ramaswamy, we already knew this, that he's this massive con man, right? He's this massive con man. But now he's still running his con as he's running for governor of Ohio. The fucking nerve. The fucking nerve. Holy shit. So, anyway, I hope he loses. What a snake oil salesman. What a liar. What a scumbag. And they need to do more detailed reporting on this because this is a big deal. That's a big fucking deal, bro. That's a big deal. All right. Now, let's talk about some of this. Oh, God, the stuff that I've seen coming out on Trump's bombings. I mean, it is disturbing. It is never ending. It is never ending. So, Trump bombed Nigeria on Christmas. More on that in a minute. But he also keeps bombing Somalia, and nobody's reporting about it. So you have this guy, Dave DeCamp of antiwar.com. He went in and did some actual reporting, and he found out we're up to at least 127 U.S. airstrikes in Somalia just this year. That's more than double the previous record of 63. This is what Trump is doing. So to understand how unprecedented the bombing campaign in Somalia is, Trump has bombed Somalia this year more than Bush, Obama, and Biden combined. More than Bush, Obama, and Biden combined. So there has been this massive uptick in bombings in Somalia. Now, at the same time, as I just mentioned, there was a bombing raid in Nigeria on Christmas Day. Now, apparently, Trump literally saved it for Christmas Day because he wanted to make an example on Christmas Day. Which, I mean, if that's not evil, I don't know what fucking evil is. You are waiting for Christmas Day to launch deadly attacks? Like, what is that? Some satanic shit. Well, CNN has a headline here. Fear and confusion in Nigerian village hit in U.S. strike as locals say no history of ISIS in the area. So I need you guys to understand. Do you not see this yet? That these are absolute psychopaths who are bombing willy-nilly random civilians. Do you not understand that? They assign 0 credibility to non-white lives. These people mean nothing to them. The over 100 people murdered in the Caribbean on fishing missions from Trinidad and Tobago and Venezuela and Colombia. Like, I need you to stop and think about that, bro. This is insane. This is insane. They keep bombing fishermen. Now he's threatening to steal Greenland again. He's threatening to steal Panama. He's bombing now Nigerian villages. And by the way, they have the whole story backwards. They're trying to say there's these Muslims and they're killing all the Christians in Nigeria and it's like a Christian genocide. Insane that they're saying these things. Why? Because the bulk of the deaths from ISIS and Boko Haram, it's other Muslims. The Muslims are also the victims. But they don't care about that. It ruins their narrative. The same people who are telling you that there's not a genocide in Gaza are the same people who are telling you there is a genocide of Christians. I mean, I literally don't know how to respond to misinformation this fucking ridiculous. This absurd, this obscene. So now, I mean, I have to say, and nobody has tracked this stuff closer than me, but now I've literally lost count of all the places Trump has bombed, right? We got Iran, we got Yemen, we got Somalia, we got Venezuela. I mean, I can't keep up. I can't keep up. And by the way, they're not even done with Iran yet. If you think they are, I got a fucking bridge to sell you. Right? Syria, like all the... What are we supposed to do with this? And then everybody acts like nothing's going on, right? Everybody acts like Trump didn't just bomb a random village in Nigeria for no reason on Christmas Day. Right? It's like, are you guys not paying attention? Do you guys not see what this is? So, look, 25th Amendment. You gotta get him out of there. You gotta impeach him or do the 25th Amendment. He's gotta go. And he needs to face criminal fucking charges for this. Because, by the way, as you know, you should understand this without me even having to say it. But all this is illegal. You think it's illegal to randomly start lighting up fucking villages in Nigeria? There's no declaration of war with Nigeria. Now, they'll lie and say, oh, but it has to do with the war on terror, and we're using that same authorization for use of military force for this. It's like, okay, that argument would be laughed out of a courtroom. It would be laughed out of a courtroom. But that's what they make, because they don't care. Pete Kegsbreath, the Secretary of War Crimes, doesn't care. Trump doesn't. He's barely fucking alive. He's barely alive. He's getting IV injections in both fucking hands and won't even say what it is. My guess is it's that Alzheimer's drug. Which, let's stop and think about this. A president who there's reason to believe he allegedly has Alzheimer's, right? Based on the injections in his hands every 2 weeks or so. It's this drug Leqembi, which is for the beginning of Alzheimer's. And he's already shown evidence, no impulse control whatsoever. There's already evidence of Alzheimer's. His dad had it, which makes him 3 to 15 times more likely to have it. If the president of the United States is fucking sundowning and he has Alzheimer's and he's calling bombing raids in Somalia and Nigeria and Venezuela on a daily basis, and we're all acting like this is normal, something is fucking wrong with us. Something is wrong with us as a country. We've lost it. We've lost it. Like, I don't know what the fuck people are focusing on. I don't know if they're busy with fucking, K-pop or Labubu's or whatever the fuck. But like, hello, wakey, wakey. Our country is being fucking run into the ground by a guy with a senile old man, war criminal, fredophile with dementia, right? I don't know how else to say it. And then finally, I'll bring this up too. So there's reason to believe now that the next phase of the genocide in Gaza is going to be rounding up the remaining Palestinians, which by some counts is about 1.5 million, which, by the way, if that were true, we're talking like 800,000 Palestinians actually killed in the genocide, right? That's what that is. That's what that is. But 1.5 million Palestinians, and they're going to round them up and send them to Somaliland. That Somaliland has agreed to host a bunch of Palestinians. And it looks like that may be the next round of the genocide. And you have the head of one of the most important think tanks in Israel, who's openly now saying this, Dr. Dan Diker, Jerusalem Center president. So, look, I don't know if this is fully verified yet, but it's terrifying that we're also at this place too. That we witnessed a genocide live streamed in 4K, and now they're talking about finishing the ethnic cleansing portion so that Jared Kushner and Donald Trump can build hotels and casinos on the beach in Gaza over the rubble and the bodies of dead babies. Trump wants golden statues built to him in the middle of a vacation paradise of Gaza. We have truly fucking lost our minds, man. There is zero morality and zero ethics left. It really feels like we're living in the Fourth Reich, if I'm being honest. It feels like the Fourth Reich. So there you have it, guys. There's your news for today. But don't worry, I will be right back here tomorrow with a whole bunch more stuff, because there's a lot to talk about and it never ends.